Alright. So I'm at Haw Creek Falls. And I only stopped to use the restroom real quick before I went and explored. The thing is, I found all these star-shaped plants. These are called May apples. There's an apple right there. They're not super significant, except for they grow in the exact same soil conditions as morel mushrooms. So, kind of cool. What got my attention, and I don't know how well you can see it, but this tree right here has, oh, of course we're overexposed. I'll fix that in a second. This thing there's one. Right here. Look how awesome that is. And we'll try to get a picture. No. Haw Creek Falls. I'm always surprised when I get these places to myself. Here's a crow and some hawks. Oh, that's a bald eagle. Now we're walking. Looking for a different vantage point on these falls. that shale. I opted for breathable shoes today instead of waterproof, and I always regret that. It's cool, but I won't get the money shot that I want unless I wade through the water. And it's cold today, and we got a lot more to see. How flat this rock is. Well, the younger me couldn't resist swimming down there. I would be in that cave right now. My hiking stick today is a Manfrotto 190X with fluid head. I'm kind of excited to see how this works. Let's go find some stuff. Oh, there's about a 98% chance I'm about to get rained on. So much for dry feet, huh? Oh yeah, hey y'all, Pop's here. In case you're wondering where we're at, this is the Haw Creek Falls Campground in the Ozark National Forest. And I'm gonna cross this road, which is 123, and go into the woods and show you something cool I found online. Ozark's Highland Trail, Ozone Campground 18, FS Road 003, it's 4 miles. Let's see where she goes to. I saw some people mention online whether or not this was a difficult trail. It's that Highland Trail. And really, this is the biggest obstacle I've come across so far. I mean, small rocks and stuff, you know, if you're maybe in your 80s or 90s, skip it. Some of you guys in your 40s are going to be like, yeah, right, I ain't walking up that. But it's moderately easy. It's just not a well-maintained, clear-cut trail, which will hopefully keep me away from a lot of people today. It's a Friday, middle of the day, so I'm hoping to get this place to myself. Anyway, carrying on. Look how tiny these freaking flowers are. Those are oak leaves down there on the ground, so that's some scale. Now, I've seen these guys a couple of times. I don't know how well the image is. That little red bloom right there, when they open up like that right there, they are just blood red. Crazy cool looking. I've only seen them in one other place, that place where I really like going to smallmouth fish. Here's another moderately difficult spot to pass. You know, if you're on crutches or carrying a baby, you may not want to attempt this. I'm carrying a tripod, and I probably got a 35-pound camera bag on my back. It's definitely travelable. Just, there's some more of those little flowers. Botany is not really my thing, but if you haven't seen Crime Pays, Botany doesn't. Botany is definitely his thing. He could probably tell you what all these freaking flowers are. I don't have a clue. I just know I see stuff like this all the time. I have other interests which will hopefully come forward in the next year or so. This is kind of cool. There's a little stream right there that runs down and feeds Haw Creek. And it is coming straight out of the rocks. This may be where we're headed. I do most of my adventuring stuff kind of blind. I sort of know where I'm going, but not really. There's another one of those red flowers. It's cool looking. Is this it? This might be it. Anybody know? Is this Pam's Grotto? Drop a comment below if you've been here before and you know, because I'm going to go a little bit further after I explore this cave, of course. The worst part about hiking with me is I never stay on trail. Look how clear that water is. No baby waterfall. I think I'm gonna settle for video on this one. And I could take some cool pictures, but I don't know. I don't think this is where we're headed. And if I sit here and unpack everything, chances are we'll never get where we're going. A little dark, isn't it? I know. How's that? These are the kind of places I like going. This is one of my things. These right here look to actually be dead Trametes versicolor or turkey tail mushrooms. The way you can tell is you flip them over and see how they're polypores. These aren't even these look more like, maybe they change when they die. I don't know. That's dope though. But I've seen millions of these. I'm not sure if those are turkey tails or not, because they look like they've got a tooth on the bottom of them rather than a polypore, which is a bunch of holes. But these are for sure some type of polypore. I can tell by looking at the outside of them. They also look a little bit old and dead. It's got some kind of mold or bacteria on it. And then underneath, you'll see. They're tough. See all those holes? That's why it's called a polypore. Many holes. Many as in a multitude of holes, not tiny. Yeah, see. That's all turkey tail. They're dead, but they're not really dead. It's like old fruit. They're just done with what they did. So there's spores everywhere throughout here, performing all types of microremediation to the soil and the plants here. I'm a nerd. We've also got a lot of these ferns here, which I don't know if that's some type of rust on that one. It's turning it red or what. These may not even be true ferns. Doesn't change how cool looking they are. I've seen several of this plant too. Comes up into that little stem and then has just the tiniest little blue flower on it. Again, no clue what it is. Hey, there's a baby cedar tree. I know what that is. It turned into a flower expedition. No, Molly, I don't know what that bird was. Probably a woodpecker. Maybe a blue jay. Got me. Maybe somebody will write it in the comments. Leaving the trail again because I can't hardly resist a rock overlooking a valley. You'll see what I see as I see it. I used to laugh at people that grunted all the time. Now I've turned into one. So sorry about my breathing and my grunting. It's part of being an old man, I reckon. Look, Ma, no hands. I'm tempted to go sit right there, but I think I'm gonna pass today. The trees are barely waking up. They're still a little bit brown. Check this out. See how it's all ripped up? In Arkansas, we have bobcats, mountain lions. Some people are going to argue with me on that. coyotes, and of course black bears. The only one I really get suspicious of is the black bear, and I don't think they would be quite as bad in the spring unless you encroached on a mama with her cub, and she might get a little cranky. If you're out hiking like this, I suggest you always do it with a friend. I'm just a fairly peaceful, calm old dude that wishes a suck of wood sometimes. But for real, unless you have a lot of experience outdoors, always bring somebody with you. Emergency food, emergency water, a backup plan for your water, which my backup plan is drink out of that creek if I get stuck out here. I don't foresee me getting stuck. I guess I could break something, but it's fairly unlikely at the pace I go these days. I hope I'm not walking past what I'm trying to walk to. Oh, the title of this, A Walk Will Fix It. My friend knows the nature of all my issues, and it is kind of amusing that a walk in the woods is supposed to just fix everything when you've lost your entire identity. I believe we may be getting close. Let's find out together. I'm probably going to toy with putting light music to this. What do y'all think? Music on a nature hike, or just listen to that water and me ramble? I'm not sure. Look at the scenery. Well, I don't think this is the grotto. This looks more like a tiny creek. Alright, let's see if I can do this without busting my... This is Arkansas, y'all. I could be at a Subway right now waiting half an hour for a crap sandwich. No offense, Subway. Your sandwiches are excellent. Cool looking little guy. If I'm not mistaken, it's Amanita aranzas. It's just a little old looking as well. Kind of like Amanita muscaria, but it's all usually this reddish scarlet color on top. There's a guild mushroom. No bleeding or oxidation as best I can tell. So yeah, a pretty common mushroom in Arkansas. Don't worry, plucking them does not kill them. They come up out of the ground because they're out of food and they disperse their spores. This one has completely finished its job, and the spores are scattered to the four corners of these woods here. And more amanitas in the future. When they run out of food, will pop up these mushrooms from underneath the ground. You know, that botany page has really got me looking at plants a lot more. If I didn't know better, I'd say this was like poison oak or poison sumac or something. And it actually flowers, which I didn't know. And I mean, I could be completely wrong about what this thing is. Again, botany's not normally my thing. I'm just becoming more aware because of the things that I watch on YouTube. Here's an old logging road. This is the kind of thing that gets me stuck in the woods, because what's going to happen is if I go too much further down here, I don't find what I'm looking for, I'm going down this road. I have no idea where it goes, but we'll find out. It seems to be going in the direction back towards the truck. Some more of those flowers I'm going to figure out when I get home. I did know the name of them before because I've taken pictures of them, but I've forgotten. Look how picture perfect this is. That's a postcard right there. These are 3 guesses what I did. Yeah, remember when I said it was a little dark when I was looking at our friend Mr. Amanita over here? Don't leave your stuff laying in the woods, kids. That's an ND filter. If you're out in the sun doing videography or photography. And several minutes later, we're right back where we noticed we didn't have our ND filter. Pro amateur tip: if you take your ND filter off your lens, get in the habit of either putting it in a carrying case immediately, or what I like to do is just put it in my back left pocket. Since it's the only thing in my back left pocket, that's how I quickly noticed it was missing. I do believe I'm gonna get a picture of this one. Check out this moss. That's completely just eating that tree stump. Alright, I about stepped on this guy. This is called an oak apple. And the larvae of a little wasp gets in there and it turns into like this little cancerous thing, like a perfect ball. And sometimes you'll just find the balls. I've never seen one this small, but there's a little hole where he got out. I always think those are neat. I've seen them almost golf ball sized. I've never seen one this little. If I had more crow in me, I'd take it home and keep it. But we'll leave it here. Another Aransas. I'm sure this time. It's a better looking one. Even though it's a little bent. Somebody probably stepped on it. a tree or a vine. It's a tree. I bet hummingbirds love these things. Note to self, come out here late next April and see if I can find a wild hummingbird. I don't have enough daylight today, or I'd set up and try to wait. But they're little dudes though. Now this may not be of much note to anybody if you don't fish, but I do. And to my friends and I, that looks like smallmouth water. If I had a fishing pole, I'd be finding out. That water is moving. Alright, I just caught a very musty odor. I have no idea what it is that I'm smelling. It almost smells like the stink that a snake will leave when he's scared. It's not quite as pungent. I don't really know how else to describe it. But the camera's on in case I get attacked by something that don't like me being here. Pretty much decided after I hit this rock we're going to head back the other way. Not because of any weird smells, but because it's almost 6 o'clock. And I hate walking back on these trails in the dark. I've done it several times because I get carried away. I've been walking for 2 or 3 hours. Now, granted, I've stopped and showed y'all a bunch of stuff, but I have a tendency to lose track of time in the woods. Oh, look at this beauty. And another snail shell. Pretty cool. Another Amanita aranzus. There's another one. So they're fairly common in these woods. Something I was going to mention. There's that pretty one from earlier. You know, a lot of times you'll go out on these hikes and things and be like, why am I not seeing more mushrooms where I go? Like, why are there no mushrooms where I live? And this is one of the biggest problems in Arkansas, in my opinion. There's just no, here's another one. There's no old growth forests. You know, all these trees, they're older because they're over a couple of ridges to get to them. But at some point in time, all this was cut down, and that's why you have all these young trees. The mushrooms are always here, but they're underground, woven into the fabric of the ecosystem. So without any old trees, and I don't just mean dead trees, I mean like old growth, like 100, 200-year-old trees, which you just don't see a lot of anymore. The mushrooms have plenty to eat underneath the soil and inside these root systems of these younger trees, so you're not going to see them as often. Now here's a tiny, these are twig mushrooms. Look how little babies. You'll still see mushrooms, but they're not as prevalent. Now I know some places where the old trees are still left tall because the ground's either too swampy or too far removed from any kind of road access that makes sense to bring heavy equipment into, which normally means away from all these highlands. Because up here in the Ozarks and places with, you know, mountainous, rocky terrain, well, they can get a truck into anywhere because they're not going to get stuck. They'll just blast their way across or build roads over whatever they want to get to. And I'm not hating on forestry. I get it. You know, people got to make money or whatever. It just sucks because it means you've really got to do your research and know where to go to find the coolest mushrooms. Now, today I'm more focused on photographing a couple of waterfall areas. So I'm not as focused on mushrooms as I normally am on hikes like this. But you'll notice if you ever do start looking and seeing them, you will notice them in more and more and more places. I see them at my house all the time, and before I opened my eyes to how many mushrooms are out there, I don't know if I ever noticed a mushroom in my yard before. But now I see them every year. Anyway, old growth forest. I guess that's the point. This young growth is just not going to give you the variety and the abundance of mushrooms. You've really got to have an eye for them to see them out here. Still haven't made it back to that logging trail, but as soon as we do, I will turn and get back with you. Now then, this is typically not something you want to do, walking in the woods later in the afternoon, especially. These side trails, you know, it could go downstream 2 miles, cut across the stream, and then end up 3 ridges over. It's a risk I'm willing to take, though. If I start crossing streams again, I may cross one, which is this main one down here. Then I will backtrack to the trail. Let's remember it's past that cave thing right there. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Sorry it's so dark. Hang on. Alright. It's not nighttime, it's just later. I'm not 1,000% sure that what I found was actually Pam's or Pat's, whatever. So I'm gonna go down this trail a little ways and see if we can't figure it out. If I'm right, this just goes back to the main highway and it'll be a lot easier to walk than the frickin' narrow trail or highland trail that we took to get up here. Plus, with any luck, I'll see some more breathtaking views of the water. Like that. Places like this also distract me a lot. I wonder how much this rock face comes through in video. Everything is just so freaking green. It's that GoPro color. It ain't quite that bright. Well, it could be the display screen too, skewing my view. It is hard to have an ego out here. I guess a walk's good for that, huh? My kids like finding stuff like this. This stream feeding into the main river, forks. And see, the road cuts back up that way. Which means I am gonna have to go back up and take the trailhead. Unless I follow the water down. Which, this is how you get lost in the woods, so. I'm gonna resist my urges to go play on that little island. I bet there's some cool stuff up there though. Look how purple these dudes are. Nope, here comes the rain. I may have to stop and button up my camera bag. This is why you don't take alternate trails. It's taken me a lot of years to have the foresight to know when to turn around. It still may be too late. But I'm prepared as long as my camera gear stays mostly dry. I'm happy. I can handle this light rain. I'm just hoping a downpour doesn't come in. Whew. I reckon when I get back to the grotto thing, that's the word I was looking for, grotto. It'll be mostly downhill from there. All right, walking in the rain. I guess this is where I suck it up and admit that I'm getting rained on. Of course, I could go to Pam's Grotto, wait it out under the falls. All right, time to put up the camera gear. See y'all next time.